morning. My name is Victor Ochieng. I'm a writer at Saturday Nation. Apart from being a writer at Saturday Nation, I'm also a director at God's Pen Consultancy. At God's Pen Consultancy, we partner with schools. We work with schools in the capacity of training, speaking services. I also do editorial work at Professor PLO Lumumba Foundation. And I want to thank God for being here again this morning. And basically today we are here for Form 1 plug-in program, Induction and Orientation in high school. As all of us know, we expect new Form 1s to join secondary schools on 2nd of August 2021. All the schools across board are expecting new students. And basically it is important to know that as we expect new students, schools, principals, the teachers, other students, basically in Form 2, Form 3 and Form 4, we need to be prepared to receive the new students. Also parents and guardians should be prepared to take their children to school. But in our presentation, we shall pitch our tent more so on those Form 1s or those pre-Form 1s who are going to join those particular schools. So I have a few things that I want to share, a few bright-eyed insights that I believe will be of great help to the three stones in the heart of a school. And that is basically the student, the teacher, and the parent. As we all know, all these three people ought to work together, ought to play their part. As President Mwalimu Julius Kabarage Nyerere said, play your part, it can be done. So we basically need to cooperate and collaborate and to be cohesive in nature so that we achieve the ultimate purpose. So I have various things I want to address, and I believe that at the tail end of this presentation would have learned one or two things that are of great essence or of importance. I want us to explore the high school experience. Number 2, how to set a strong foundation in high school. I want us to explore attitude, that is mindset plus beliefs. I want us to explore how places don't make people, but people make places. And I want us to entrench that on what I call America did not make America, but Americans made America. I want us to explore personal grooming skills. I want us to explore choosing friends wisely, being that this is going to be a new environment. Useful study skills. As we all know, skills are abilities, and high school scholars ought to know that for them to evince academic excellence, they need to hone study skills. And as we talk about study skills, we shall also focus on life skills. And we know that life skills can be categorized into 3. We have got those skills that help us to know how to relate with ourselves. We call them intrapersonal skills. And we have those skills that help us to relate with other people. They are called interpersonal skills. And then we have the skills we call the skills of decision making. The skills that help us to know how to make decisions in a better way. And of course, I will also explore physical and mental health, which I believe is of paramount importance. And basically, later we shall look at forms of discipline. That discipline plays a pivotal role in the life of a student. Any student who wants to succeed or to access success in high school must focus on discipline. I want us to begin it. And when I talk about plug-in, all of us understand that when you want maybe to charge your phone, you plug the charger on the source of power so that the phone can be charged. So basically when I talk about plug-in program, I mean that the newly admitted Form 1s must think about how do they plug themselves into the new schools. How do they get into the new schools? That is of supreme importance. And when we talk about induction and orientation, it means that you are getting into a new environment. And when you are getting into a new environment, you have to be shown how that environment looks like. Basically, they were in primary schools, but now they are getting into secondary schools. A lot of things are going to change. And that means that we, as the new students, we must think about how do we attain a jigsaw fit in the new environment. And we, as the teachers, how do we help them to fit in that environment, the prefects and the old students in those particular schools. So number one thing, we are saying that we have to think about getting into the new schools being a new environment and another experience altogether. And basically, it's going to be an exhilarating experience. So what is this new experience? You know, that's quite important. So when we get to the high school level, we need to understand that high school is not primary school. Or basically, primary school is not secondary school. And secondary school prepares us to get into the tertiary level. After high school, the high school scholar will be expected now to join or to matriculate into university or college to start shaping his or her career. So in high school, there's a lot that happens. Basically, there's going to be change of diet. You're not going to eat the way you used to eat in primary school, the way you are eating at home. Basically, the food that is offered in high school is prepared for a mammoth number of students. The high population in high schools, like now we have schools which have got 2,000 students, 1,500 students, 1,500 students. And basically now the food that is going to be offered is not like the food that was being offered in your homes. In your home, maybe they were preparing food for 2 people, for 5 people. If your family is a football team, they were preparing for 11 people and above. But now they're going to prepare for very many people. So it means that the food offered in school is basically called relief food. So long as it is hygienic and it can keep us going, we accept it the way it is. So there is going to be that change of diet. There can also be culture shock. Culture is a way of life. When you are maybe at Nairobi Primary School and you have been called to a school in Western Kenya, or you have been called to a school in Central Kenya or Northern Kenya, basically you may find that there is going to be a change of way of life. And that invites what we call a culture shock. A culture shock. Change of weather, basically, like I'm imagining if you went to a primary school in Kisumu at the shores of the lake, then you are called to a school like Loreto High School Limuru or Limuru Girls in Limuru. You see, there is change of weather, basically. Limuru is very cold. At the lake, it is very hot. Or at the shores of the ocean in Mombasa, it is very hot or warm. So there is going to be a difference in terms of weather, climate or environment. Meeting new subjects, and many subjects for that matter. In primary school, we were doing 6 subjects. Mathematics, we were doing English, Kiswahili, we were doing social studies, science, and CRE. But now you realize that when you join high school, they are going to double up. You can do 11 subjects, 12 subjects, or even more, depending on the school you are going to. We have got groups of subjects, and we have got those groups running from group 1 to group 5. And in every group, we have a number of subjects. Now, that means that we also expect large classes in high school. Basically that. And when I talk about high school experience, you'll be in high school maybe for 3 months. You are given pocket money to keep you there. that means that you have to think about how do you manage your pocket money. It is in high school that you're going to learn money management, how to manage your pocket money, and basically that. Allow me to shift gears and also to talk about something different. If you want to succeed in high school, you must check on basically setting a strong foundation. And I want you to think about this tower. It is the tallest tower in the world. It's called Calgary Towers. Calgary Towers is said to stand at 190.8 meters. It has got 10,884 tons. And we are told that 349 tons is part of the foundation, which is approximately 60%. That means that however much Calgary Towers is tall, the major part of this tower is the foundation part. What does that one tell us? It tells us that foundation is very, very important. And now as we think about joining high school, you as a student, you must think about setting a strong foundation. That foundation is what will keep you. Teachers must also think about giving from once a very firm foundation. And we as parents and guardians, we must think about giving our children foundations that are worthy. I know there are parents who take their children to school, and perhaps you take your child to school A, but perhaps the child did not like that school, or you didn't like the school, and you keep on telling your child that my son, my daughter, just accept to go to that school, but in second term or when you're going to Form 2, I can take you to school B. I think that basically is confusing the child, because this child will not be able to set a strong foundation which can act as the launch pad to make the child take a strong flight. Think of it. When we look at aeroplanes, they say that when an aeroplane takes off, it uses more energy, more fuel than when it is up there. That shows that the foundation really matters. So how do we set the foundation? You know, that really is of great essence. So we must help these children to be excited about the next level. The next level of education now is secondary level. So they must be excited. They must be ecstatic about it. We must help them to accept the school. In many cases, you'll find that the choice that the child had did not really materialize. Maybe a child wanted to go to Pangani Girls High School, but she found herself being called to Limuru Girls. Or she wanted to go to Mangu School, and he eventually got himself being called at Nairobi School. So that means that we must help this child to accept the school. Number 3, this child must think about that school and explore the new school for that matter. And choose friends wisely, because the friends really help us to become the people we want to become. That's of essence. And for us to be able to set a strong foundation as students, we must ensure that we have useful study skills, which I shall explore in the course of this presentation. And again, participate in co-curricular activities like sports, like games. Not only that, but also get into things like clubs, societies, and movements. And why this? This is quite important because apart from academics, we need to think about talent development. And it is only when we explore these sports and games that we shall be able to hone our skills and hone our talents. And also, when we join these clubs, societies, and movements, like in high school, you'll find the drama club, music club, you'll meet mathematics club, journalism, debating, etc., etc. So as you study maths, as you study English, as you study chemistry, it is also important to join these clubs to build you in nature. That is quite important. Now, I also said that it is important to focus on attitude. And I said that attitude is basically mindset plus beliefs. But maybe we begin by defining learning. Psychologists define learning as change of behavior and attitude. There is no way you can say that you have learned or you are learning and your behavior has not changed or your attitude has not changed. And I'm saying that now attitude equals to mindset plus beliefs. So we must change our mindsets. We must change our beliefs. If we want to access success in education, in high school, we must change those two things. And attitude is very, very important. Zig Ziglar, the great American writer, said, "It is your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude." When we talk about attitude, we are talking about mindset plus beliefs. When we talk about aptitude, we are talking about natural ability to do things. Like you can have a natural ability to dance. You can dance beyond skeletal limits. You can have a natural ability to sing. You don't struggle singing. I know some of us, when we begin singing, people can ask us, are you singing or you are talking? You can have a natural ability to dance. Some of us cannot dance. They have two left legs, you know. You can have the natural ability to speak. But when we talk about altitude in this context, we are talking about the height that you can attain. As we all know from geography, altitude is a height above the sea level. But now, altitude in this context, when Zig Ziglar says, it is your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude, then we mean that it is the height you can go. When you join high school, you want to actualize your dreams. You want to change your dreams to reality. You want to become a lawyer in future. You want to become a doctor. You want to become an engineer. You want to become an architect. You want to become a journalist. You want to become an author. You want to become anything you want to become. And of course, your dreams are valid. And dreams are the seedlings of reality. But what will make these dreams to morph or to change from just dreams to reality, it means that we must think differently. So when you join a good school, you have come from the village, you found yourself in a good school like Kapsabet Boys High School. You found yourself in a good school like Moi Girls Eldoret. You found yourself in a good school like Kaga Girls in Meru. Now, what will make you to become the person you ought to become? You have to change the way you think. You have to change your attitude. You have to master your mind and master yourself. And you see, when I talk about attitude, the mind is very, very important. The mind is everything. In the mind there is defeat. In the mind there is success. In the mind there is victory. In the mind there is defeat. So what do you conceptualize in your mind? You know, it is Napoleon Hill, the great American writer, who said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Your mentality is your reality. Your mental picture determines your actual future. So we must help these children to understand that. And you, as a pre-form one, as you purpose to join the new school, you must think about that so strongly. Now, the mind is very, very important. Attitude is very, very important. And that can only be achieved if we become positive in life. And positivity always has a way out. I know some of us are going to join high school. We are total orphans, or we come from humble backgrounds. Our parents are struggling even to eke a living, to get the fee. And even as we join high school, we are wondering, will I be able to sail through from Form 1 to Form 4? What you only need is to be positive about it. And God has a way out, because God has got good plans for us. But to underscore positivity, I want you to reflect on this anecdote. Robert Gabriel Mugabe, the former president of Zimbabwe, once upon a time called his staff, and he told his staff Russia was the first country to travel to the space. America, the first one to travel to the moon. That is after 1962 at Rice University, the then President J.F. Kennedy delivered a speech called "We Choose to Go to the Moon." It is said it is that speech that inspired and invigorated scientists to explore the space in America. Before 10 years elapsed as if late for a flight, Americans went to the moon and came back. So Gabriel Mugabe was telling his people that Zimbabwe will be the first country to travel to the sun. And as all of us know, it is impossible to go to the sun. We can melt like butter exposed to heat. But he looks at them and tells them, we shall not go during the day, we shall go at night. You see, this anecdote underscores the essence of positivity. When we are positive, there is always a way out. We can find our way out. So what we need to do as newly admitted Form 1s is to be positive about our school, be positive about ourselves, be positive about our teachers, because teachers are just trained the same way. When I was training as a teacher in Kikuyu, we were trained the same way. Now some are teaching in school A, school B, school C. We are the same teachers. So that is quite important. Now, I also said that we need to focus on knowing that places don't make people, but people make places. Places don't make people, but people make places. So that is quite important. We need to understand that when we think about the Kenya High School, what makes the Kenya High School to be the Kenya High School? It is the students there. I remember during the burial of the former governor of Bomet County, Dr. Joyce Laboso, the former principal of Kenya High School spoke there, Mrs. Njogu, and she was saying that when she was the principal of Kenya High School, someone could tell out there, when you meet an old girl, what we call an alumna of Kenya High School, you would notice that this is an alumna of Kenya High School because of how she carried out herself. And basically what she was trying to say is that these girls made their school proud. And when we talk about the Kenya High School, when we talk about Alliance Girls High School or Alliance High School, what makes these schools great? It is not the buildings in the school. It is the students in those schools. And I want you to reflect on this. There is this thing about this school called Mioro Secondary School that produced one of the most improved boys in KCSE 2018, Josephat Kamau. Now, Josephat Kamau was admitted at Mioro Secondary School with 278 marks. But when he sat for KCSE, he managed to get an A-. He became one of the most improved students in the whole country. I believe that for this boy to achieve this great feat, he must have understood this, that places don't make people, but people make places. What of a school called Weiwei Secondary School in 2009? It produced one of the best boys in the country, one of the best students. And this attracted members of the Fourth Estate. Journalists went there and they were inquiring what made this school to produce a good student. And you see, it was not about the buildings. It was not about the teachers per se. It was not about something outside students. It was about the students, because places don't make people, but people make places. Maybe I do a self-disclosure too. Personally, being born outside wedlock, I ended up being raised by a grandmother and a grandfather. And I lost my mother at an early age when I was 7 years old. When I was a standard 8 boy, just like other boys, I wanted to go to a good school. Actually, my dream school was Starehe Boys Center. After our head teacher had come to class with forms from Starehe Boys Center. A dark, tall man with a well-fed frame. It was dark like 1,000 midnights. And this man said that this school called Starehe sponsors boys from a humble background. You are academically gifted, but financially famished. You can get your way there. I filled the forms. I wanted to go to Starehe. When I sat for KCPE, I scored only 339 marks, which means that my dreams to join Starehe were shattered. They all crumbled like eggshells. Fortunately, I got an invitation to join a good school called St. Mary's School, Yala. When I took this invitation letter to my grandfather, he looked at it and he said, "My grandson, I think this is the end of your education. In fact, I have hatched a plan. I have a brother who bought land in those sides of Kisumu, Muhoroni to be exact. I want you to go and become his herds boy." I looked at the father of my mother and I told him, "I don't want to become a herds boy. I want to go to school, and if God permits, I become a professor one day." Of course, as I spoke about this, I knew he did not have the wherewithal to take me to school. I didn't have a biological father. I didn't know him. Mother was also dead. When she was still alive, I used to ask her to show me my father, but she did not do it. She only quoted for me Psalm 68 verse 5 that says, "God is a father to the fatherless and the judge to the widows." But you see, when I nearly missed going to high school, it is the church that took me to school. The church did not take me to Starehe Boys Center. Neither did they take me to St. Mary's School, Yala. They took me to a decimal day school called Nyamninia Secondary School. But the day I got to that school, whose name looked like a tongue twister, I knew what took me there. It is in that school that I toiled and moiled, I worked hard, and eventually got a good grade that took me to the university to pursue my dreams, to pursue my career. So what am I trying to say? The school does not matter per se. If you find yourself at Kenya High School, well and good. If you find yourself in a school like the one I went to, Nyamninia Secondary School, well and good. What you need to do is to accept yourself, accept the school, and get what you deserve. Because today, I am a source of help to my grandmother and my grandfather. They are old like hills, but they are aging gracefully. I am a source of help to them. If I would have given up, then it would have been very bad. But I did not choose to give up. I chose to do it and to become the person and to continue becoming. So, places don't make people, but people make places. America did not make America, but Americans made America. When you think about America, and most people want to go to America to pursue the American dream, the world of opportunities, it has got infinite spectrum of opportunities. What made America great are the sons of America. We think about J.F. Kennedy. We think about Martin Luther King Jr. We think about Thomas Edison. We think about Henry Ford. We think about those great Americans that made America great, including my uncle Barack Obama, that made America great. So we look at it, America did not make America, but Americans made America. So you can make your school great. Like today, I'm proud of our school. I can talk about our school confidently. I don't feel shy. I don't feel bashful talking about it. I can go back to that school. I can talk about it in the newspapers. In opportunities like this, I can talk about it. Quite important. As a Form 1, joining a new school, think about personal grooming. When you join that school, you think about grooming yourself in a good way. I would not want to go deeper into it, but basically what you're talking about here is that you must think about how you present yourself in that new school. You keep your clothes tidy, learn to polish your shoes, organizing your books, your locker not looking like the locker of a madman or a madwoman, organizing everything, making your bed, washing your hands, spoon, plates, and all that. Basically, that's quite important. Choosing your friends wisely. Choosing your friends. The Bible says, do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals. High school is a melting pot. It has all manner of people. So you'll meet all manner of people. Think about choosing your friends. You know, elsewhere the Bible says, the one that walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools would be destroyed. A good friend of mine is fond of saying that when your clothes are made of leaves, you don't choose a goat as a friend. So you choose your friends wisely. Useful study skills. What will make you get good grades are the study skills, like having academic tools, attending classes regularly, having a positive mental attitude, well-written notes, having a strong reading culture, building a concentration span, being a good steward of time, having what we call content mastery strategies, having memory enhancement strategies, checking on your mental health and body health, basically that. And finally, I want to conclude on life skills. And when we talk about life skills, it is important for students to understand they need the life skills, and schools should also focus on teaching life skills. School is not just about teaching chemistry, biology, geography, and all that, but basically equipping learners with the skills that can make them survive and thrive in the society. When you look at life skills, we can categorize them into three. Number one, we have those skills that help us to understand ourselves. They are called self-mastery skills. So you understand yourself. Here we have self-awareness, self-esteem, self-motivation, time management, self-discipline, etc., etc. They are those skills that help us to understand other people or to relate with other people, like negotiation skills, skills like friend formation, knowing how to make friends. And then we have got those skills we call skills of decision making, like decision making itself, how to make choices, critical thinking, creative thinking, etc., etc. So basically, I want to do a recap of what I've looked at. And I want to say that we were focusing on Form 1 plug-in and induction and orientation, focusing on the students that are going to join new schools, focusing on the teacher, focusing on the parent. All of us ought to be prepared. As a student, get prepared. As a teacher, get prepared. As a parent or a guardian, get prepared. Like now, prepare yourself in terms of fee, in terms of the materials, in terms of taking parental responsibility to comply, to cooperate, to collaborate with the school, which is quite important. We have looked at a number of things: high school experience, setting strong foundation, attitude. We have looked at how places don't make people, but people make places. How America did not make America, but Americans made America. We have looked at personal grooming skills, how to choose friends, useful study skills, life skills, physical and mental health, etc., etc. That is what we need to work on. And I want to drop the ball there. As I said, my name is Victor Ochieng. I am a writer. I write with Saturday Nation and Education News newspaper. I also work with schools, principals who are listening to this program, and teachers. I want to say that we can partner. You can engage Godspen Consultancy to work with your school. As you admit Form 1s from 2nd of August, we can work with your school. You can get to know more what I do through my website, www.godspenconsultancy.co.ke. www.godspenconsultancy.co.ke. Thank you very much. I wish the newly admitted Form 1s good luck as they join new schools. God has got good plans for you, as Jeremiah says, plans to give you a future and hope, plans of peace, not plans to harm you. Thank you.